Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another video here on Freewell Photos. And today I have an image that didn't come out the way that I expected it to. So I guess we're going to explore inside of ON1 to figure out what we could do with an image that is out of focus and is blurry. This is not going to be a heavily edited episode. Primarily because I want you to see how I kind of work through things, and I want you to get used to doing that for yourself. So let me know your questions, your comments down in the comment section below. And if you want to pick up ON1, consider using my coupon code FreewellPhotos20. It'll save you some money at checkout. It is a coupon code where I get a small commission, but it's at no extra cost to you, so it's a win-win. And I truly appreciate everyone who uses it to help me support this channel. My initial thought with this particular image is to hit the Tack Sharp AI and let that kind of do its thing. And by the way, I have no idea what's going to happen with the final edit of this image, just because like it's one of those images that I probably would have thrown away. But I thought, how many people have blurry images, which I think is a very common thing. So I want to try using Tack Sharp AI first. So we'll do that. And I just need to move it to generate the preview. And I don't know if that is doing any better for the overall image. And in fact, I don't even know if it's generating a preview, because that went really, really fast. And I'm not really seeing much of anything. So we'll see what's happening here. Okay, so it did generate something, but I feel like this image may be too far gone for the Tack Sharp AI. So that leaves me to think about other artistic ideas or methods that I could use, because I think that it still is a photo that has a pretty good overall like feel. All right, so one of the first things that I'm going to do is just hit Brilliance AI. And we're going to let this kind of balance itself out in tones. And it made it darker. I'm not sure if I would have gone with a darker look for this image. I kind of like it with the brighter look. So let's take a look at what it's doing. And maybe we'll change our camera profile here. I kind of like camera neutral. And these are all of the DCP profiles that are inside of the camera itself, the Sony a7R4. And, you know, I think I do like camera neutral, so I'm going to go with that. But it really darkened everything, so I'm going to push the blacks up, and I'm going to bring the whites back up. And maybe even the highlights. Let's push the midtones over, open up some shadows. Now I'm getting it like way too bright. So let's contrast the image just a little bit. And I think that's going to help with the perception of everything. But the goal here isn't to make the image sharper. You should always get sharp images if you can, but I didn't. So, you know, we got what we got. But what I think this image really has is strong colors. So I think we're going to use that in our technique today, or at least I'm going to use that in the technique of trying to save this. So coming over to local adjustments, I did push vibrance on that last adjustment there. I pushed vibrance a little bit, but I didn't talk about that, so I'm talking about it. Now what we'll do is, I don't want to lower the exposure too much. I just want to bring attention right here to these grapes, or I think they're grapes. So I'm going to hit the letter M twice on my keyboard. That gets me the tool that I have here, the masking bug. And then I'm just going to click and drag this in, drag that out. And now it looks a little bit more anamorphic, cinematic type thing. I don't know if anamorphic is right, but it looks more cinematic. And I like where this is going. So this is what we started with. This is where we are so far. And I think we have some more that we can do. I could do more in local adjustments, but I want to get into effects. So let's go ahead and start working with the rest of this image. Now, I want to play on the blur, so I'm going to add a blur, and I think I'm going to go with a radial blur this time, because the radial blur is one of those tools where I think it's helpful, at least in this case, it's going to be helpful to kind of move it around, and I'll put it right here. So if we make the blur intentional in the image, it really makes that look a little bit more like it was supposed to be there, and it's more unique and artistic. And so I'm going to go with that, right? Because sometimes you don't really get to add extra blur and make it look good. So maybe somewhere around there looks pretty good. And if I lower the opacity, whenever you lower the opacity on a blur, it never really looks good. So I think I'll keep it like so. However, what I want to do is kind of fade this into the center. So I'm going to grab another masking bug, and I'm going to hit vignette, and then I will drag this all the way in to here, and then pull that out. And I want to go not O. I want to invert this. Don't want to look at the mask. I want to flip the mask. There we go. And I'll just pull that out. Why is this not giving me the look that I want? Let's try it a different one. Okay. I see. I have too much of a feather. Yeah, there we go. So we'll pull this out just a little bit like so. And we'll put that there. There we go. So now I have the focus in on the one berry, right? I think that this is helping with selling the fact that, there's something going on here. So now it's really, how do I want to play with these colors? Because we have some really cool looking colors. So I'm going to click on replace color. And again, I'm experimenting here, but green is the primary color in this particular image, and there's blue. So I'm going to select the green, and let's see if we can change this to a color that is opposite of the blue and doesn't like over mess up the image, right? Don't want to mess up the image too much. I want to make this fun and artistic. So maybe something like there. And let's change the opacity, because that could work. I don't know. I kind of like the green in the overall image. So instead of a color replacement, right? You try things, and if it doesn't work, then that's okay. Let's go with a photo filter, and I'm going to put a color mask on this because I only want to impact the greens in this image. And so now that I've selected the greens, I'm going to get an overlay so we can see what's getting selected. And I think that that's way too much. So we'll pull this down. Yeah, because I don't want to get all of the greens. I just want to get a majority of them. And we'll feather this like so. Hit the letter O. Now we'll take our color overlay and let's make those greens a little bit more yellow, maybe. I don't know. I'm not quite digging that. Maybe desaturate. Let's see. Turn it off. Turn it on. I kind of like it. but I'm not entirely, like, it's not hitting me just yet. So maybe what I think I need to do is get these blues to pop. So the way we're going to do that is with a color enhancer. And all I'm going to do here is come over to the aquas, and I'm going to saturate those and then push. And I'm only looking at the blue, the blueberry, which it's not a blueberry, but the berry that is blue. That's all I'm looking at. Everything else I'm just going to mask away, so I'm not overly concerned about it. Okay. Let's maybe bring the brightness down. Push the saturation just a bit. Okay. I don't know if that's any better, so maybe that's not the way that I want to make those stand out. So we'll get rid of that. And maybe we'll come to a local adjustment, and we'll just add some saturation and then paint it in locally, or vibrance and paint it in locally. Let's see what happens. And I think there's some negative exposure. We don't want that. We just want the vibrance to kind of come through. But even that's not doing it for me. Wonder if I did a mid-tone adjustment and contrast it. Those, okay, it looks a little bit better. I can kind of get behind that. So I think the last thing that I'll do, or at least one of the last things, let's add a sunshine filter. Nah, not feeling that. So instead of the sunshine filter, we are going to add in a film grain. I'm going to go something like a 3200 ISO. Hit the size pretty hard, bring the amount down, and make it a little bit more opaque. And then I think I'm gonna hit this with a black and white and just pull the opacity down. And now this is cool. The black and white messing with the tonal values of colors that are still present in the image, and really making this work. I actually like that. I think that looks pretty good. And so here's what we started with, which wasn't a very good image. And here's what we made in a relatively short amount of time. I think that it's interesting. It's not perfect. It's probably not even an image that goes into a portfolio, but it's just something that's fun. And that's the whole point of working inside of ON1 sometimes, is just to have fun with the edits and make something that is creative and may not always be, a #1 or #5 starred image or anything of the sort. So hopefully you found some value in me kind of waffling around, as some people would say, inside of ON1, and it's jogged your memory or inspired you to do something with one of your photos. Now, obviously, if you are working on an image and you really need to get an image out, then don't do what I just did, where I just spent, X amount of time messing around. But I want to encourage everyone to explore the software. So until next time, I want you guys to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.